first, I endorse Kamala Harris 100% for this job as president. I've known her a number of years. We served as attorneys general together. She has to win. She has to stop Trump. And I want her to get the very best person she can get as vice president. That being said, I respect her process, and I'm not going to comment on it any further than that.
Nick?
Yeah, Governor, what is your message to Donald Trump as he prepares to come to Charlotte tomorrow to campaign?
Well, he has an opponent who is a prosecutor. He's obviously a criminal. He has an opponent who has protected consumers. He's a con man. He has an opponent who was able to put women's reproductive freedom front and center while he has destroyed Roe v. Wade. This is a stark contrast. I believe that the people of North Carolina and people all over the country have had enough of Donald Trump, and I believe that Vice President Harris has been able to excite and unite not only Democrats, but unaffiliated and Republicans who really don't want to see Trump elected as president again.
ABC?
Did it come as a shock to you when President Biden stepped down for re-election on Sunday?
Well, obviously it wasn't a shock. It was a frustrating period of time for all of us because there was so much infighting, but the unifying theme here was that all of us wanted to defeat Donald Trump. And all of us respected Joe Biden. And I've said this before, but I've known President Biden a while. He called me the afternoon that he did this, and we had a conversation. He's such a good man, and he has two things going on, fighting through adversity and doing the right thing. And 99.9% of the time, you need to fight through adversity to do the right thing. He had to come to the conclusion that this time doing the right thing was to not fight through adversity. He came to that decision, I think, when he had a little space and a little time to think about it. I think he cemented his legacy as one of the great presidents of this country.
Fox?
Sarah Winkler with Fox 8.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about, this short time with the change up. Can Democrats get organized in time?
Well, I'll just give you an example of how organized Democrats are. Within 6 hours of this announcement, 6 states' delegates met and endorsed Kamala Harris. And for example, in North Carolina, I think there are 168 delegates. When you get 168 Democrats in a room and they agreed on anything, that's a positive thing. And to have a unanimous endorsement of Kamala Harris and seeing that across the country, I know people had been worried about whether this was going to be something that happened too fast. The thing is, it happened from the bottom up. I mean, you saw how much money she raised in such a short period of time from small donors and a significant number of contributions from people who had never given before. That just showed you that there was tremendous support for her, and this might have been grassroots people leading the leaders to say, hey, this is our person, you big guys get on board. And I think a lot of that's what's happened.
Skip over here to NBC.
Hi there,
Hi.
Catherine with NBC
Yeah.
News. Can you talk about if you received any vetting materials about potentially joining the ticket with VP Harris, and also would you accept the job if offered?
I'm not going to talk about that. I really want her to, I want to respect her process, give her the space to pick the best person, and I'm just not going to comment on her process.
CBS?
Hi, Governor Cooper. I'm Allie with CBS News. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you. Just wondering, what are some of the qualities that you think Harris should be looking for a running mate?
Well, I mean, clearly someone with a vision for America. I think there are a long list of Democrats who could do an amazing job in that position with her. The thing is, she has extraordinary people to pick from, and I trust that she's going to make the right decision, not only for her, but for the Democratic Party and for the country.
Spectrum?
With last time Trump won North Carolina, what do you think her chances are for winning? Of course, with you, might
So Donald Trump won North Carolina in 2020 by 1.3%. This was his closest win and Joe Biden's closest loss. This was during COVID, during 2020. Democrats really weren't doing the door-to-door, taking people to the polls work that Republicans continued to do through COVID. I believe that North Carolina is definitely on the table to win. I've told the president that. I told the vice president that when she and I talked the other day. It was clear that the Biden-Harris campaign was targeting North Carolina. I think it's important for them to continue to do that, not only because of the presidential race, because we have the most consequential governor's race in the country between Josh Stein, the current attorney general, whom I'm endorsed, and probably the most extreme right-wing candidate in the country. And I know that's a mouthful, but look up Mark Robinson, and I think you might agree with me at the end of the day.
WXII.
Chris Peterson, WXII-TV. Just what are your thoughts on even being considered and being on the short list as a vice presidential candidate?
Well, I appreciate people thinking of me that way, but like I say, this is the time for us to be supporting Kamala Harris, putting her in the spotlight. I think she's doing this process in the background. I respect that process. I know that she'll end up with a great pick.
WSOC.
Hey, Governor, how are
Hey.
you? What is it about your record and story you think you would communicate on a larger stage, whether it's in North Carolina on the campaign trail or in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania? What story would you want to tell if you were giving addresses in any other swing states?
I have been communicating the same story about the Democratic ticket for the past year, talking about the extraordinary accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration. Kamala Harris gets credit for the fact that we're actually connecting people to high-speed internet in rural North Carolina. Kamala Harris gets credit for the fact that I had a woman come up to me when we were making an announcement on a new water system in a rural community with tears in her eyes, saying that she thought that they had been forgotten. They were frustrated with so many boil water days. Kamala Harris gets credit for that. She gets credit for a significant contribution to the new bridge, the new Cape Fear Memorial Bridge in Wilmington, North Carolina. These are the things that I'm going to be talking about, along with the threat to democracy that Donald Trump brings, the threat to women's reproductive freedom that he brings. And I think that's a message that will resound not only in North Carolina, but across the country.
Last question, WTVD.
Governor, can you at least share with us what conversations have you had about potentially being on the ticket?
So I communicated with the vice president. We talked about winning this race, and we talked about the importance of all of us coming together. I told her I supported her 100%, and that was the end of the conversation.
When did you
That's
talk
it.
with the vice president?
I talked with her on the day that the president withdrew from the race.
That's the time we've got. Thanks,
That
y'all.
sounded like a good tryout right there.
Thank you, Governor.
Guys, I'll see you later.